Hi everyone, let's talk about the BPS and landowner relationship. This is one of the most common questions in civil law exams and tests, and this is a subset or subtopic under accession. Accession, which is the consequent right of ownership, right to of the owner to whatever is incorporated or attached to his property. So, if you want to jump, you can jump to slide 7. Nandun yung summary ng lahat ng rights and responsibilities of the BPS and the landowner if either of them or both of them or one of them is in good faith or in bad faith. Okay, that's the slide with the green, yellow, and red tables or table cells. So, this is in relation to Article 447 and 448 of the new Civil Code. Please note that this video is not intended as a substitute for legal advice. If you have concerns with your property, please contact a lawyer. Please don't forget to subscribe or join my join my channel for exclusive content for members. So become a member and get exclusive access to my law school content. So let's start. So this is under the topic of accession. So first, what is accession? Accession is the right of ownership with the right. It is a consequence, no, of the right of ownership. So if you have a property and you own it, then there are corollary or consequent rights to such ownership, diba? So that's the right to own. It goes with the right to possess. Okay, the right to dispose, the right to abuse, the right to vindicate or to recover. Okay, and the right of ownership has a consequence of the right to own what it produces or what it attaches to. So ito po yung tinatawag nating accession. It is the right of the owner of the thing over everything which is produced thereby or everything that which is incorporated or attached thereto. So, yung mga na-produce is discreta. So, discrete. No? Discrete means fruits or produced of the principal thing. While when we say continua, it's continuity, incorporated or attached thereto. So, there's continuation. So, sa discreta, there are three kinds. So, pag sinabing discreta, think of products. Okay, so parang I try to imagine that if there's products, it's being produced discreetly. So wag dapat hindi siya dapat bolstered, hindi siya out, no, hindi siya proud, parang discreet lang siya. So pag syempre if you imagine a tree having bearing fruits, silent lang 'yan, no? Tahimik lang. No? Parang tahimik lang, no? So tahimik lang pero in a while may bunga na. Kaya pag namumunga ka, dapat tahimik ka lang, discreet ka lang dapat. Wag magmayabang kasi baka dadating ang araw na bulang bunga. So discreet. So there are three kinds of discreta or that is being produced. So natural fruits, civil fruits, and industrial fruits. Yung tatandaan lang natin is a natural fruits is the keyword that it is produced by the soil or animals. So go back to nature, go back to Genesis 1. Okay, natural fruits means the products of the animal kingdom or the plante ba yun? So the plant kingdom. So that's whatever they produce, you own it. So let's say you own a cow, you own a boar, a pig, you own chickens. So whatever they produce, that also belongs to you. If you have a dog, nagbi-breed ka, so whatever the puppies are, these puppies are yours as well. So that's accession discreta natural. Accession natural. And then we have industrial fruits. So industrial fruits are the products of labor. So industry. When you say industry, it's labor, it's work. So it's the product of the work of human hands. And now we say we have civil fruits, the products of lease contracts. Okay, that's the general term. So these are rents, annuities, these are dividends. No? So if you have money, then if you are into investment, so you sometimes are being taught to invest it sa stocks, so stock markets, mutual funds, let's say sa VUL, no? So there are consequences to investing your money in these instruments, and these are civil fruits. Okay, so that's accession natural. Now we have to go to accession continua, in which nandito yung BPS or yung builder-planter-sower relationship. Sa continua, you have to divide it further into two, and that is immovable and movable. Okay, that which is attached to an immovable are dalawa, industrial and natural. Ano yung wala? Yung wala is civil, no? Kasi wala namang contractual stipulation na i-attach mo yung something and then mawawala mo yun sa principal owner. So you only have natural and industrial. So sa natural muna tayo. That's mga the acts of nature such as avulsion, alluvion, change of riverbeds, which is not the subject of this video. Dito tayo magfo-focus sa immovable property, which is industrial attachment. So that means the work of human hands. And then, so when we say work of human hands, there are generally four kinds of works, no? So the materials owner, the builder, the planter, and the sower, and their relationship to the landowner. No? Kasi ito yung usually na may problema. May landowner, magkaiba yung owner ng land, tsaka magkaiba yung owner ng materials. Magkaiba yung owner ng building, magkaiba yung owner ng sowing, ng seeds, magkaiba yung owner ng plants or ng crops. So, yan yung accession continua, immovable. So, sa movable, recap ko lang, mabilis lang, conjunction is united to form a new object. Commixtion is the mixture of solids or liquids, from the word mix, no? And then specification is the producing a new form. So, sa conjunction, may kumbaga using the grammar, may dalawang pinagbuo. Pero sa specification, may isang material na ginawa siya entirely into a new thing. Okay, so let's go now to accession of immovable property. So, who owns a property if there is accession of two or more properties belonging to different owners? So, the general principle is the accession belongs to the principal. Accession follows the principal. So, kung sino yung may-ari sa principal, siya yung mag-aangkin ng accessory. Okay? Siya yung mag-aangkin ng kung ano yung na-attach. Kasi, the principle is, the owner of the principal has the older right. No? So, the owner of the principal thing owns the accessory, or what we call as discreta or continua. The final end product is the principal. So, how do you determine that if it's the principal? Usually, that's the end product, the perceived end product of a thing. So, let's say, for example, sa car with the engine, yung end product is not an engine with a car, but a car with an engine. So, if you also if there's conjunction of a diamond and a ring, the end product is not a ring, is not a diamond with a ring, but a ring with a diamond. Okay? And if you also merge a painting with a house, okay, that's called also an accession. Okay? You don't call it a painting with a house, but a house with a painting. So the principal there is the house. Okay, so accessory follows principal, or accession follows the principal. Accessory, yun yung ino-incorporate. Kumbaga, that's the smaller thing, the lesser thing, but it's not necessarily smaller in size all the time. That's the thing that is being produced, that is the thing that is attached or incorporated to the principal. So exception is if the possessor of the thing is in good faith, he is entitled to the fruits. Okay? If yung accessory, so siya yung wala siyang knowledge, no, ng defect ng kanyang title, so entitled siya sa fruits ng kanyang tinanim. For example, siya yung naglagay ng plants, may in good faith siya, namunga yung plants, sa kanya yung fruits. Okay? If the possessor is usufructuary, he is entitled to the fruit. So usufructuary is also the right to the fruits, no? It's an agreement as well that the person will possess, and then he is entitled to to the fruits of that property. So it does not belong to the owner of the land, but to the usufructuary. And then if the possessor is a lessee, is entitled to the fruits, but his payment are civil fruits. Okay, so for example, nilease yung land. Okay, nilease, pag ako yung lessee, okay, inilease ko yung land sa lessor, sa asyendero, or sa landowner, ako yung planter. So the principle na accession follows the principal. Let's say tumubo yung tubo doon or sugarcane, it will not follow that it will go to the landowner, but it will go to me because I am the lessee. I am a tenant. I am a planter. No? Ako yung nagtanim. Okay? Kahit hindi akin yung lupa, ako yung mag-aani. Kasi that's the principle of lessee, lessorship. And then if the possessor is an anticretic creditor, he is entitled to the fruits and is obliged to apply them to the debtor's obligation and interest. So anticresis is another agreement. It's another form of property relation or contract wherein yung fruits ay i-apply ng creditor sa utang ng debtor. Okay? But those are just an overview of the exception, no? And now, let's go to when is there good faith or bad faith in accession. Kasi importante rin ito. Napaka-important natin i-determine ang good faith and bad faith kasi it will change. It has an effect to the rights and obligations of the BPS or the materials owner and the landowner. So, good faith means that you have no knowledge of the defects or flaw of your title. Okay? Or you are not aware of the defects of the mode of your acquisition. Okay? When there is a mistake or doubt or there is a difficult question of law, then a person is also in good faith. So if you look at the circumstances of that person and you apply it to his situation, and if there's a difficult question of law, then you would say that he is in good faith. Kasi wala siyang full awareness of the defects of his title. There is doubt. There is a question in his mind. So, it depends also on the case, on the severity of his doubt. So, syempre, pag too much doubt na sa kanya, sa circumstances, especially sa kanyang, let's say, educational attainment, or sa kanyang position in life, then, circumstances would lead na he is not in good faith. Okay? Ang bad faith naman is the opposite. It is the awareness of the flaws or the impediments of one's right. Okay? You know that you are wrong. You know na mali ka. You know na hindi ka tama and you are in bad faith. Now, let's go to the rights of the accessory. So, after determining good faith and bad faith, we now determine the rights of persons who own the accessory. So, di ba kanina yung principal is one that is the owner of the end product, no? Or in the case of BPS and materials owner, the owner of the land. So first, determine natin yung right ng mga materials owner and we can divide them into two. Accessory as the material owner and accessory as the builder, planter, sower. So i-divide mo rin sila sa dalawa, sa good faith and bad faith. So ang owner of materials, pag good faith siya, tandaan, yung special dito is he has the right to exercise retention. Meaning, pwede niyang hawakan, i-possess yung lupa, okay? Kung siya yung material owner na nagpatayo siya, for example, nagpatayo ka ng, let's say you are a contractor, sa iyo yung materials, no? Ikaw din ang builder. So, pinatayuan mo ang lupa ng bahay. And then, mali pala, no? May mali yung landowner at ikaw wala kang nasa good faith ka, no? Wala kang knowledge na nasa mali ka. So what you have as a right is the right to retain the building until you are paid by the landowner. Okay? Let's say may defect, no, na alam ng owner na hindi niya sinabi sa iyo. Kunwari alam niya na yung may hazard sa ano niya, sa lot niya, no, or may limits ang law diyan, or di kaya ayaw ng neighbor, parang mga ganun, may mga bawal, no, may mga illegal. So alam niya pat hindi niya sinabi sa iyo, and ikaw gumawa ka ng due diligence, but still you could and you continued your project, so you are in good faith. Let's say you are in good faith, no, for certain reasons. So you have the right to possess the house. You have the right na wag kang umalis dyan. You have the right to, let's say, put a padlock until the landowner pays you the cost of the expenses or the cost of the materials that you have used. Okay? Plus, you have the right to demand the necessary expenses that you have spent in the preservation of the land. Okay? Let's say, hindi bumaha. Naglagay ka ng mga, let's say, if it's beside the river, you have placed ripraps, no? So, you have the right to be reimbursed. Pero, pag pag owner of the building, planting, and sowing, also the same. You have the right, no? Pag ikaw yung builder or sower, good faith ka, you have the right to retain the land plus the seed sown plus reimbursement. But if you are in bad faith, no? If you are in bad faith, you don't have the right. You have no rights. So tandaan, good faith always allows you to choose or to exercise a right or to demand a right, but bad faith, wala ka talagang right. You only be liable to pay damages, no? Also in materials, siyempre wala akong nilagay diyan na right, but sa builder, planter, sower, you have the right to be reimbursed of necessary expenses. Okay, necessary expenses of the preservation of the land. Sa materials naman, kasi obviously pag ikaw yung bad faith, yung nagme-maintain naman ng bahay is the landowner, obviously, no. But in general, in all cases, pag nag-spend ka ng pera para sa preservation ng lupa, then you have the right to necessary expenses, syempre to prevent unjust enrichment. Okay? So again, right of retention can be exercised by a person in good faith, or especially if the owner of the accessory has the right to retain the end product until he is paid of the necessary and useful expenses. Okay? Or preservation, those that are needed for the preservation of the land. Also, there is a right to deduct expenses if he who receives the fruits has the obligation to pay the expenses made by the third person for their production, gathering, and preservation. Ito naman is pag-planter. Okay? Pag-planter, sower, okay? Pag nag-spend ka for the production and gathering of the fruits, then you have the right to be reimbursed. No? Kasi fruits yan eh. May ginawa ka naman para sa may-ari ng lupa. Okay? So, you have the right, no, kahit nilagay mo yan sa mga sako, nilagay mo yan sa ref, nilagay mo yan sa freezer, nilagay mo yan sa mga containers. Siyempre, alangan naman, ibigay mo na lang yung mga fruits na yun sa landowner without his expenses. Parang thank you na lang. Okay? Dahil lang bad faith ka. So, kahit bad faith ka, you have the right to be reimbursed for the necessary expenses, okay, for the production and gathering and preservation of the fruits. Okay. Now let's go to the article itself. 447. It talks about the rights and obligations of the material owner and the landowner. So first, determine muna yung good faith. Pag good faith yung owner ng materials, okay, ang landowner, pag good faith yung landowner, okay, at yung owner ng materials ay nagamit sa lupa niya, ang mangyayari is the landowner has to pay the materials owner, the MO, the value of his materials or the cost of his materials plus legal interest. So, kahit good faith, you still have to pay the interest. Kasi, well, that's the payment of the delayed, no? The time value of money, kumbaga. That it slept for years, for example. Let's say 1 decade na bago ka nabayaran. So, there's legal interest pa rin. But if the landowner is in bad faith, let's say aware siya na he has a defect in title, or if there's a right violated, okay, you have to further divide the obligation into two. If the removal will cause injury or destruction, okay, wala kang right, walang right na ipakuha mo yung materials. But if there's no destruction, materials owner may remove them from the land. Of course, dahil bad faith ka, you have the obligation then to pay, no, the expenses of the removal. If there will be destruction, demand payment from the ang ibig sabihin nito, if there will be destruction, the materials owner, no, can demand payment from the landowner or his successor interest, the value of materials plus legal interest plus damages. So, syempre, dahil masisira na ang lupa, masisira na yung building, masisira na yung structure, okay, the right now goes to the materials owner. Okay? The right now transfers or shifts, okay, to the owner of the accessories. He can demand reimbursement of his materials plus interest and damages. So, tandaan, pag may bad faith, may damages. Okay? So, dito sa bad faith, okay, bad faith with destruction, tandaan, no, na ang right ay nagsishift hindi na sa landowner but sa materials owner. So, I made a chart for this to be more understandable. So, ito yung chart ay nagsasummarize ng iba't ibang mga principles under 447 and 448 and also some cases and jurisprudence. So, I made this chart with color coding, like green means the party is in good faith, red means in bad faith. Pag yellow, may option or walang nasa bad faith, at yung light red means that has a lesser right. No? So, first, sa first row, we have the landowner as the good faith and the BPS or the MO or the materials owner as the bad faith. While sa second row, landowner naman yung bad faith at MO naman or BPS naman yung good faith. While sa third row, both of them are in good faith or both of them are in bad faith, and that means they will be treated as if both are in good faith. So, explain ko lang yung first row. First, let's start with the first row. What is the right of the landowner pag siya yung nasa good faith? Siya yung nasa good faith. Okay, and yung BPS or MO naman yung bad faith. So, always remember, pag nasa good faith ka, may option ka. You have the right to choose. Pag bad faith ka, you have the obligation to pay damages. Okay. But, good faith, even good faith yung kabilang party, also has the obligation to pay legal interest pag matagal na, no? Pag may lumipas na yung mga years, no? Let's say years na, so may legal interest tayo na sinasabi sa batas. Okay, so ano yung option pag yung landowner, kunwari ikaw yung may-ari ng lupa, and then hindi mo alam, nasa abroad ka, someone constructed a house sa lupa mo sa subdivision, hindi mo alam, pag uwi mo, nagulat ka na lang. Okay? Nagulat ka, so good faith ka kasi you don't have knowledge. But yung nagpatayo, alam niya. Let's say for some reasons, no? Reason in the world. Nagtanong lang siya sa security guard ng subdivision saan ang lupa niya. Okay? Well, that's not bad faith per se, but that's negligence, and that will also require him to pay damages. But let's say alam na alam niya, but out of hatred sa'yo, ganyan. Pinatayuan niya ang lupa mo ng structure. So, ano yung option mo? Tatlo. And these three, the first one is directed to you. The second one is directed to them. Okay. First, you, landowner, LO, you can own it. Second option, BPS, remove that. Okay? So, ayaw mo mawala yung lupa mo at ayaw mo rin ang structure niya, alis, layas, sirain mo yan at your own expense. The third option is towards the BPS pa rin. Nagpatayo ka ng structure mo, ayaw ko na rin ng lupa, bilhin mo yung lupa ko. No, that's the third option. So the first option, appropriate the structure. Let's say, so yung first option, ito yung case na nagandahan ka sa ginawa niya, for example. Nagandahan ka sa structure or sa puno na or sa seed or sa, let's say, sa plants. So BPS or sa materials niya. Okay, what you can do is appropriate, possess it, make it as your own, but pay that builder planter the actual cost. Okay, the actual cost of his structure, but demand damages. Okay, he must pay you damages kasi bad faith siya eh. Okay, bad faith siya. So, a second option is towards that person din. Remove it. Ayaw ko sa'yo, ayaw ko rin ng pamumukha mo, ayaw ko rin ng ginawa mo. So, ang mangyayari is, he must remove it, okay? He must remove his own materials without indemnity. He loses what he has built. Kasi bad faith eh. Dapat pinapanish yung bad, no? Pinapanish yung bad. Kunin mo yan at your own expense. Okay? And restore my land to my own, to its original condition. The third one, it's towards that person pa din. Okay? But, because in this case, ayaw mo na ng lot mo. You demand that builder to buy your land. You demand him, bayaran mo ang lupa, sa iyo na to. But, if he refuses, the next option is, okay, you can, I mean, the consideration is as long na yung value ng kanyang structure is greater than your land. That's the only time you can demand him to buy. Kasi, let's say, yung lupa mo, 100 square meter, let's say 700,000 or let's say 1 million. Ang pinatayo niya lang is bamboo fence, no? Alangan naman ipabili mo sa kanya yung lupa mo. Okay? You can only demand him to buy kung yung pinatayo niya sa lupa mo is, let's say, 1.5 million, no, na bahay. So, bilhin mo na lang kaysa sirain natin yung bahay. So, demand. Pag ayaw, forced rent. Rentahan mo yung lupa ko kasi ayaw mo naman magbayad. No? Ayaw mo namang bilhin. Forced rent. Pag ayaw pa rin, that's the time na pwede mo nang sirain. Kasi bad faith na siya eh. Super bad faith na talaga. Okay, hindi pa siya nagbayad ng rent. Okay, so, also, there's sometimes questions that yung lupa na benta na, okay, the principal cannot be held subsidiarily liable for the acts of the bad faith BPS. So, let's say si builder, planter is binenta niya yung structure, yung house and structure sa isang party. Alangan naman pabayarin mo i-appropriate ni landowner at ibabayad niya doon sa bad faith na BPS, no? Or papabayad niya uli sa new buyer ng house and lot. Good faith naman siya, innocent naman siya, no? So hindi mahahabol yung landowner. Ang hahabulin talaga is yung bad faith na nagpatayo ng structure. Okay. So sa builder planter naman, ano yung consequence? So yung consequence is no right of retention. Okay, no right of retention. Let's say sinabi ni landowner, i-appropriate ko na to, babayaran kita. Hindi mo yan ma-retain yung house mo kasi nasa bad faith ka. Okay, no right to indemnity if landowner demolishes the materials. Pag sinabing remove. Okay? No right to demand buying the land. Okay, you cannot buy the land pag ayaw niyang ipabili sa iyo. Your only option is to remove it. Okay, remove it or sell it. Sell your materials. However, in all cases, you have the right to be reimbursed sa necessary expenses mo kasi gin-preserve mo yung lupa niya. Now, let's go to the second column. Paano naman pag ang landowner naman yung bad faith? Wala siyang right. Pag nasa bad faith, walang right, even right of necessary expenses kasi wala namang obviously ikaw yung nasa bad faith, ikaw naman yung nag-preserve in a sense ng lupa mo. Nasa good faith yung materials owner. Okay? What he has is the right, okay, to remove if without injury, he can remove the materials plus damages sa'yo. Okay? Again, because you're in bad faith na landowner. Also, right to remove ornamentals, luxurious items. Okay? Pag pwede silang ma-remove. Okay? Pag hindi na niya ma-remove, kasalanan niya na yan. Na even good faith siya, yung ornaments or yung luxurious items, hindi niya na ma-remove. All you have to do is remove it with damage. Okay? But if the materials are not removable, the materials owner may demand reimbursement of necessary and useful expenses or increase of the value of the land plus damages. So, material owner demand from the landowner o bayaran mo yung cost ng aking expenses at yung useful expenses or the increase of the value of the land. Okay? Plus, he has the right to retain the property until he is paid. Okay, may right of retention pa rin may right of retention na yung builder kasi nasa good faith na siya. Now, let's go to the third row. If both of them are in good faith, if the landowner and the builder are in good faith, the option now shifts or belongs to the landowner. Meron na siyang dalawa, no? Two general options, katulad sa taas na bad faith. This time, good faith yung builder. So, ang nangyayari is same pa rin. Own or appropriate the materials, okay, plus pay the material owners of the cost. But ano yung wala dito? Walang babayarang damages si landowner kasi hindi naman bad faith. Okay? Hindi naman bad faith. Hindi siya makakasingil pala. Hindi siya makakasingil ng damages sa materials owner kasi hindi naman bad faith yung materials owner. Okay? But ang option is either pay the cost of the materials or the increase in the value of the land. Okay? Let's say yung lot is 1 million ang dahil sa ginawang kalsada or let's say beautification ni builder in good faith, naging 1.5 million na ang lot. Okay? Or, ang ginastos niya lang is 100,000 materials, pero yung value naging 1.5. So, syempre, bilang wise na landowner, hindi mo babayaran yung 1.5 dahil increase of the value of the lot. But, you only have to pay the cost of the materials. Same way around. Let's say yung increase of the value is 1.1 lang, no? Pero yung ginastos niya is 1.5 million. You have the option to pay the cost of the increase of the value of the land. But, okay, you have to pay the necessary expenses made by the builder for the preservation of your lot. Okay, let's say sinagip niya yan sa earthquake or sa baha. No? Now, the other option of the landowner, if both of them are in good faith, is to determine yung cost ng land. Pag considerably lower yung land, let's say, higher muna, considerably higher yung land, syempre, alangan naman ipabili mo sa kanya yung lupa mo. Let's say, 1 million yung lupa, 100,000 lang yung construction niya, syempre, alangan naman bilhin niya yung lupa mo. You can only demand the builder to buy your land if it's considerably higher yung materials or yung building or structure. And what do you mean when you say considerably higher? The cases say it's more than or equal to 25%. Okay? Also, if lower, so again, if lower, if value of materials is considerably more than the land, okay, demand the BPS to buy the land. Okay? But if not, so hindi mo yan madedemand na bilhin niya. Just pay just for the landowner to pay the BPS. If planter or sower demand that he pays you rent, okay, and it will be determined by the fair market value, or if the parties don't agree, it will be determined by the court. If the BPS defaults or hindi siya nagbayad ng renta as promised, ang pwedeng gawin ni landowner is ibenta niya ang lupa at ang improvement, okay? Or pwede rin kung ma-remove, ibenta niya yung tinanim, let's say mga kahoy yan, ibenta yung tinanim and apply the proceeds to the rent. Pag both yung binenta niya, land and the structure, apply the proceeds to the land. And the excess will go to the builder planter. But pag ayaw niya pa rin ipabenta yan, then demolish na. Doon na papasok yung destruction. Okay? However, tandaan, walang right to demolish or right to destroy the structure sa case na to. Kasi wala ngang bad faith. Only if he further refuse, if may stubbornness na sa part niya. Now, in all cases, the builder-planter, even in bad faith, or even both cases are in good faith, has the right to necessary expenses. But in this case, sa row 3, he can exercise the right of retention. Kasi wala naman siyang bad faith. Okay? And right to reimbursement. Pag ang party, either of these two, LO or materials owner or the builder planter, is negligent. Let's say hindi naman siya bad faith, but let's say nag-exercise siya ng katamaran na imbes na sa geodetic engineer yung kinonsultayan yung security guard or yung non-professional. So that's negligence. He is obliged to pay damages. And no right to demand buying the land if the owner does not choose to. So if the landowner alienated the land to a third party without paying the builder planter sower, who shall indemnify? Okay, let's say si builder planter, in good faith, nagpatayo ka ng structure sa lupa ni A. No, si A, hindi ka binayaran kasi good faith ka naman. At ginawa ni A, binenta niya doon sa kay B. Anong mangyayari? Si B, if he has profited from the accession, if he has profited from your structure, then he should indemnify you. The reason for this is the good faith purchaser may have already paid the seller of the improvements. So, pag hindi naman nag-benefit pa si B sa improvements mo, si A yung pwede mong ma-indemnify. It would be unjust to require the purchaser to pay again. In this case, the seller or original landowner must indemnify the builder planter sower. So kung sino yung nag-benefit, siya yung magbabayad sa owner ng materials or owner ng building, planting, or sowing. So ito yung steps. First, determine kung sino yung good faith. After that, determine kung sino sa kanila. So if both, if isa, or isa sa kanila, if whether the landowner or the materials owner of the BPS only. So kung sino yung bad faith, siya yung may right to kung sino yung bad faith, siya yung may obligation to pay damages. Okay? At kung may damages, at kung ang bad faith ay si builder, pwedeng i-demolish ng landowner na walang indemnification sa kanya kasi bad faith siya. After determining good faith, bad faith, remember also to determine yung value ng land. Okay? Value ng land, kung higher or lower. Okay, usually pag good faith si landowner yan. Pag good faith si landowner, determine the value of the land. If it's lower or higher. Pag higher yung land, okay, hindi niya ma-demand na bilhin yan. Imaginin mo na lang, no, na piso lang yung tinayo sa lupa mo. Yung lupa mo 1 million, papabili mo sa kanya. Only if considerably higher yung structure sa land, dun mo lang ma-force na bilhin niya yung lupa mo. After that, determine if the BPS or the materials owner has the right to retain. Okay? Because he has the right to be indemnified. So, right of retention. And that only applies to good faith BPS. Okay, good faith. Pag bad faith, hindi niya ma-retain. And then, necessary expenses. Necessary expenses, this applies to all cases. And useful expenses only applies if he is in good faith. Okay? And ornamental expenses does not apply. Kasi, luxurious na yan eh. No, that's totally unnecessary. Offset damages pag meron. Pag may damages, pag may bad faith, pwedeng i-offset yung necessary expenses. No? Let's say bad faith si builder. So magbabayad siya ng damages. Pero nagbayad din siya ng real property tax. So offset. Pwede yun. And if negligent, if merong negligence sa either parties, magbabayad din siya ng damages. So that's the rule. So thank you very much for watching Mark 1230. Please don't forget to subscribe for more videos. God bless you. Bye-bye. Have a nice day.